This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I am your co-host, Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino.
And I'm your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty. And the holidays have passed us. We're about to enter the new year. But before we do that, we have come together one more time in 2025 to go over what you might have missed this month in the world of pop culture. It's just two of us, just like it used to be way back when. So this may be a shorter episode, but still will be a great one.
And there it is. Eric says this may be a shorter episode, so it will be the longest of the year as he continues to jinx us and say crazy things. So yeah, back to where it started when it comes to what did I miss. We wanted to just kind of give everybody a break, and we'll bring back, the horses and the wheel and the games and all that stuff in 2026, and we'll continue with guests in January. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. This is the first episode you've ever listened to of the Wait For It podcast. Wild pull, mythical pull, actually, if you ask the two of us. But this is our most casual episode where we sit back, typically with friends, and talk about any news you may have missed from the month before. Of course, with it being December, it's a little bit lighter. So we still have a couple of things that we wanted to discuss here in the world of pop culture to wrap up the year and a very last episode of 2025. What a crazy year, you guys, between Eric and I, both here on the podcast and also individually, as far as what we've been able to do. Really not attainable without the support from you guys, and we have so much cool stuff planned between guests and episodes and streams and all that kind of stuff in 2026. So thank you so much. This is our opportunity to say thank you, and we appreciate the hell out of you guys. So if you need a reminder as to where to keep up with the Wait For It podcast in 2026 and beyond, make sure you stick around to the very end of the episode, and we'll let you know where you can find all of that. But Eric, let's jump into it. December 2025, what did I miss? No wheel, no frills here today. Sorry, as far as production value, I apologize for the three of you that watch on YouTube, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Eric, I'll go with my story first here because we'll see if we did pick the same story, and then we'll just talk about this at length. And it is the Claire Obscur story. Is that the one that you had pinned or no?
No, this is perfect.
Okay.
That was going to be my backup in a sense, so that worked out.
It all works out. So, for those of you that do not know, it's kind of a meme at this point. Claire Obscur, Expedition 33, won a lot of Game of the Year awards. It won a ton of awards at the official Game of the Year awards, and it also won Game of the Year at the Indie Game Awards. Well, at least it did until very recently, where the Indie Game Awards announced that it was rescinding the top honors award awarded to RPG darling Claire Obscur due to the use of generative AI during development. Sandfall Interactive recently sat down with a group of influencers for a private interview session where the French studio was probed about recent AI controversies. Game director Guillaume Broche, I'm sure I'm butchering the hell out of that French name, clarified some of the misinformation surrounding the studio and reiterated what other Sandfall developers have said about generative AI usage during interviews held earlier this year. In the transcript, which comes courtesy of gaming content creator Sushi, they asked, quote, "To what extent was generative AI used in Claire Obscur? How is it beneficial, and how do you plan to use it in the future?" Broche responded, "Everything in the game is human-made. When AI first came out in 2022, we'd already started on the game. It was just a new tool. We tried it, and we didn't like it at all. It felt wrong." Broche went on to say that the studio did experiment with using AI specifically to cover up textures that the studio had missed, but that it was an extremely brief alliance. Quote, "We took it out as soon as we found it. But yeah, the concept art, voice actors, everything is human-made." Drew a line in the sand, stated, "But everything will be made." He said, "It'd be hard to predict how AI might be used in the gaming industry in the future, but declared everything will be made by humans, by us." Part of what this continued article from Polygon, part of what's fanned the flames surrounding the otherwise niche award show is that Sandfall Interactive has not been furtive about how it used AI in the first place. Interviews conducted earlier in the year saw other Sandfall Interactive developers openly discussing their attempt at using AI-generated placeholder art Once the game is released, some players noticed textures that appeared to be AI generated. However, those assets were limited to one specific object in the game, full of countless assets. Sandfall Interactive has not responded to Polygon's request, but the immediate patching of those assets, coupled with previous statements, make it sound like it was an oversight back to when the studio was merely checking out this technology. Arguably, trying the tech at all crosses a moral threshold for people who feel strongly that AI-generated assets have no place in the creation of art. But like many industries, gaming studios are being pushed by leadership to explore AI technology, regardless of how workers might feel about it. This was a big conversation in one of our group chats, Eric, and we've been very clear, especially having many creative and artist friends, how we feel about AI when it comes to the creative space. And it is a it's something we have to approach very, very. It's I don't want to say touchy, but like we have to be strategic about how we talk about this, because again, it's not like they went out and used generative AI to create the story, to create the player models, to create a lot of most of the things that were most important when it comes to Claire Obscur. It was also your Game of the Year pick here for the Wait For It Awards, and it seems like what a lot of the things that they were using were like textures in some like newspaper articles that were like just posted on a wall, like stuff you really wouldn't even recognize unless you were really, really looking for it. Does that make it, the use of it, not any less icky? No, not necessarily, but we have to pick and choose these battles when it comes to AI. AI is here to stay. It's going to be part of what we have to deal with going forward, which is unfortunate when it comes to people using it in their incorrect manner. But this was just something that just seemed like the Indie Game Awards, who I don't know very much about them as an award show and as a publication, but it just seemed like something they could have looked into a little bit more before jumping to such what seems like really extreme response. So Eric, what did you think about all this when it came through, especially for a game that we hold in such high regard?
Yeah, unfortunately this gave a lot of to sound very woke here, I guess, gave very cancel culture vibes. Like this game won all the awards and somebody was like, found a tweet.
There it is.
I found it. Cancel. I don't know. It just gives off that vibe very, very strongly. And, that also, not to get too off topic, but that also then stretched into the runner-up getting the award for Game of the Year, which was Blueprints. And I believe it was The Escapist sending an article without context with the headline, Claire Obscur ripped of a title and Game of the Year award given to another game that used AI, and that isn't true at all. That was debunked very quickly by both the dev and beyond. So like it just feels like it was a story that started to have a whole trail behind it run away, and it was like a runaway train in the news cycle. And it's hard to kind of keep up with what really the cause of all this was until you kind of broke down a little bit of the background. It's something I don't necessarily have a problem with from like, and James Cameron is not the person you want to attach to for like ideas, but he's mentioned this too, like when it comes to storyboarding, that could be a good place for like AI to take place. But I would also kind of disagree with that take a little bit, because I think that might be better than using it in a final product. But even then, that's pretty shaky. So like any AI use, I think is just a bad call right now. But if it's in the pre and the scheduling of like creating storyboards and all of that type of stuff, I'm a little bit more forgiving. It being in the final cut in the game and then being taken out or being called out, I think is a big issue in the gaming industry and will be as time continues to judge AI and its usage.
I think one of the things that is kind of mentioned here in this article is that they weren't like totally forthcoming in the beginning. If they had said, "Oh shit, there were some AI assets that we left in the game that went unnoticed. We went in and patched them. Thank you to those of you that like brought this to our attention." So I think that's definitely like making it worse than what it seems and what happened here. So again, when it comes to like the actual integrity of the game and the studio, I still think that's very much in place. I'm not going to write off this studio because of what seems to be a pretty easy mistake. I can't even imagine what it's like to go through the endless code of a video game as intense as Claire Obscur Expedition 33. So that's why, again, like a lot of people pointing out, like, you got to pick and choose some of these battles. Like these people, like this studio doesn't deserve to be like why were they lambasted to be like the face of generative AI being used in the game? And really, it is because, like you kind of alluded to, Eric, like people are on the sidelines waiting to hate this game, and I don't know why. Maybe because your Call of Duties or your whatever AAA games didn't win a Game of the Year award, and it was dominated by the studio that kind of came out of nowhere and made this happen. So I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's kind of like just forcing hate, like people hate K-pop Demon Hunters. Like it's just, hating the thing that's really, really popular, and that seems to be what happened. So, but yeah, if they had just come out and said, we fucked up, sorry, here's a free update. Here's a cool outfit for everybody. Sorry about that. I think everyone would have just swept this under the rug.
Yeah, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but it being the indie game of the year, especially considering so many people are criticizing the fact that Claire Obscur is being advertised as an indie game. Like, the definition of what makes an indie game in 2025 is still seemingly undefined from what I can tell. I tried to do a little bit of research when this story dropped to kind of understand, like, well, is this a AA, a AAA title? Like, what exactly, what is this company? What is this publisher? What is this? And there's not really a real answer. It doesn't always come down to budget. But when you look at maybe the size of some of the outsourcing for this game and the cast that this game garnered, I don't know. Like, I kind of see both sides of the coin in the argument. And I have no idea if, again, that maybe pushed the agenda of getting this to happen. It's unfortunate, nonetheless. I mean, Claire Obscur, I don't think this will be what it's remembered for because it was so minimal. But in the short-term memory of gamers, this is definitely a notable one.
Yeah, and again, no disrespect to the Indie Game Awards, who is, again, something I wasn't as familiar with. But if what's his name? What's the guy who does the Game Awards? What's that guy's name? If Jeff Keighley came out and said he was going to strip, a Claire Obscur of their Game of the Year award, then I think, it would have been maybe then that's a bigger stain on their legacy. But for this, I do think we'll eventually forget about it for a game that, again, I fully intend on eventually going in and finishing, and very excited to see what is next for this studio. And, hopefully they just learn from what was hopefully a pretty innocent mistake. Or an unfortunate mistake, both probably. So, yeah, that was my story. And, Claire Obscur stripped of its Indie Game of the Year award, but still has plenty of others. So I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, this is going to be a conversation we continue to have for a while. Larian, who did Baldur's Gate 3, immediately got into some hot water about if there was any AI use in the trailer for Divinity. And they came out and talked about how they want everything they work for to be a benefit towards their team, their games, and that it would be irresponsible not to evaluate new technologies. However, processes are still always evolving. And if, they don't align with who they are, they will make changes. So not exactly a step away from we won't do this, but again, it's going to be something of a tightrope for these publishing companies to figure out and these gaming developers to, announce very clearly to people because they want to know if it's in their game or not.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Eric, what was your story that you penned for December? What did we miss?
Yeah, so we're going to have kind of a lengthier didn't make the cut section since it's just the two of us. So I figured I'd go with the most broad story, which actually covers two things that happened, not only in the same month, but on the same day. December 13th has come and gone, and in that day, we got both the final episode, quote unquote, for My Hero Academia and the final match for John Cena. And I just thought, Phil, although you are still finishing the final season, I've been caught up since the manga, finished the final episode here today in dub. I wanted to get our thoughts on both legacies for My Hero Academia and for John Cena, as really big fans of anime, but specifically big fans of My Hero. And then, of course, the wrestling side of things, and you being the John Cena fan that you are, and me hating him on the opposite end of all of the villain characters that he thwarted. I wanted to bring this story up as a 2-for-1 for us to really just kind of dive into both sides of the coin and reminisce a little bit about two of the biggest endings to happen in quite some time in both of these genres. So, Phil, whichever one you want to start with, I'll let you kind of take it away and we'll continue the conversation from there.
Yeah, let's start with My Hero Academia. We actually had this conversation maybe a month or so ago. I asked you, like, what do you think the ultimate legacy of My Hero Academia is going to be? And regardless of how things went there towards, 75% of the way through with the movies and, not being big fans of those here on my end, and also the downgrade in animation because they were so focused on the films. And of course, the toxicity of the fan base, and I don't think that's certainly not exclusive to My Hero Academia or anime specifically. We're a part of other fandoms that can get pretty nasty. But ultimately, I think that if there is as only an anime watcher since 2017 when Eric put me on, I think if there's a new generation of like a big four or a big three, I don't know how you can leave My Hero Academia out of it, because of the legacy that it's had and because of the impact it's had on pop culture, because of the performances, because of the names that were included, and because of My Hero have launched them into other things, and they are now prominent voice actors in other things. And between the familiarity of those characters and it covering so many different bases, like, is it basically X-Men? Sure. But you know why? Because that's a good story. Like, that's a good story to tell. I think the only, and you mentioned this actually when you had discussed it with me, I think maybe the one thing that didn't age as well is that it does take course over a very short period of time, when I think they could have elongated it a little and made the characters a little bit older and stretched out the story a little bit. I think that probably would have been a better route to go, and maybe in hindsight, maybe they wish they would have done that. But ultimately, when I think about My Hero Academia, it will hold its place as one of my favorite anime of all time. It's going to be, it holds some of my favorite characters in pop culture ever. And I'm very excited to see what's next when it comes to, I want to start watching Vigilantes, and endless spin-offs can come from this world specifically. And if they continue to cast the right people and put stories out there that really connect with people and touch people, then this is an IP that's going to be around forever. So you, of course, are the one. Again, you put me on to My Hero. This has been a show that's been part of your life in a big way. So what do you think? What do you think My Hero's legacy is going to be when it's all said and done? As somebody who you're fully caught up, and also told me that I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer for the actual ending for this fucking thing.
Yeah. So, obviously my thoughts into My Hero span quite heavily into so many different feelings and emotions. I've talked about it a lot before. The one thing I'll harp on and reiterate for those of you that haven't heard, my opinion on this series, there has been very, very minimal amount of content for as much as I consume. There's been a very small amount of franchises and materials that have really impacted me the way, from a character standpoint especially, than what I've experienced in My Hero Academia. The highs are so high. There are definitely a lot of lows and lulls in this particular series that you could criticize and you could talk about, and I definitely have my pick of the litter from that. But when it comes down to it, like, some of these core characters to this show are my favorite in all of pop culture. I'm a big fan of Deku, but Bakugo is like, he's coming to his own. Like, that's one of my favorite character arcs ever. Hawks is one of my favorite fucking characters just in general. I just love his whole fucking vibe, his quirk. Like, there are so many things. The Endeavor arc was really strong in that character work. So a lot of stuff that I really enjoy, a lot of scenes that mean quite a lot to me and I think back to, reminisce a lot. And for somebody who doesn't watch stuff a lot multiple times, My Hero Academia has several instances where I have to put it on annually, check it out. I might just be bored and pull up a YouTube clip of a scene. I don't just do that with anything. And My Hero will have always made a really strong impact on me for that reason. But the fun isn't exactly all over. There is going to be a OVA that was announced for May of 2026, titled More, and it is heavily implied at the end of the final episode of My Hero Academia that the story will continue on, and that is because there was an additional chapter that is the manga's official ending that did not get adapted into this season of the anime. So they're going to be bringing that back, finishing that up. There's also going to be My Hero Academia, the concert. Phil, feels like we're going to end up having to go to that. If I could say, yeah, listen, play You Say Run back to back to back, and I'm happy as fuck. Let's do that. So there's a lot of fun stuff.
You know that gif of Speed like crying? No. It's the kid with the headphones in. He's like crying in his in class, and he's like slamming the table. It's gonna be Eric. You're gonna get thrown out.
That's gonna be me. I'm gonna be extremely tearful. But as far as My Hero goes, Phil, the thing I'll kind of bring up really quick is with My Hero now ending, and obviously that OVA coming up, and you never know, they could always do a movie. That nothing's stopping them. There is something going on right now, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which is a spin-off series that had a pretty promising first season. As someone who has not watched the first season but has read the manga, it's probably going to be my next step to check out. I heard animation-wise, it was kind of a precursor to what we got in the final season of My Hero, which is crazy. Phil, any interest at all to check out Vigilantes with what you've heard about or seen about so far? Or is this the first time you're even hearing this thing exists?
No, I'm definitely going to check out I mentioned Vigilantes just a moment ago.
No, I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to check it out. It's something that I heard about a while ago because of you. And you know, letting me know kind of like what that was about. I assume it's just like the spin-off for Attack on Titan, where they're all chibi and they cook, right? Is that what happens?
No, it is.
They're all bakers.
No, that is not it. But you might see a little bit more ass.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna check that out. Again, as I mentioned, like this is a universe that you could tell infinite stories in. People are always going to be interested in heroes and this type of content. And again, for a IP that has already introduced a lot of characters that people are very much enamored with, I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. So definitely want to be there for the concert. Yeah, that's definitely something we'll have to make time for if we get an email from the Florida Theater, not the Florida Theater, but the Times Union Center, and we'll have to make sure that we talk to that composer if it is possible. So, and also, I mean, Eric, selfishly too, just with us with the podcast, getting opportunities to talk with basically every single voice actor that has voiced these characters that we love is an incredible, like, just humbling experience. So, and that only just brought us closer to this series, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and My Hero is going to hold a special place in both of our hearts. I can't say the same for John Cena. I can't really say the same. But what I will say is that no matter what you thought about his final run, his year-long retirement run, I think it's still bittersweet and still something we're processing with the way it ended. I don't know if the wound is too fresh, Phil, but thinking about this final run, his final match, and then reminiscing about his career, where do you want to take it in your thought about John Cena and the fact that it's all over? You say never say never in wrestling. But this might be never, ever again.
Yeah, so I actually had this conversation with our buddy Brock recently on the way down to Hall Mat. And the issue was not him losing to Gunther. And that's not the problem because Gunther was the right guy. It's the complexity of the sum of all parts. Because one, Gunther, it goes back to why the fuck do you have him tap out to Jey Uso? Like, that's also an issue in and of itself. And then you hear... Now John is saying, like, I wanted to do like 200 dates, and I wanted to do, and me and Cody were left with our dicks in our hands after The Rock and Travis Scott never showed up again. So that's going to be part of Triple H's legacy now. So that final run, that's going to be associated with him forever. And it's really a bummer that it trumps a lot of what he did in NXT, which is a huge bummer because that's what got us back into wrestling. A lot of what happened on that final run is a reason why we're not really paying attention to wrestling as much now. But John Cena ultimately will be, he will be on my Mount Rushmore of not only just wrestlers, but just pop culture people in general. He was my hero growing up as a kid, as a teenager, when I really, really first got into wrestling. It was the first ever pay-per-view I went to. It was a Survivor Series where he was, oh, never mind. I was going to say which team he was on, but we don't mention the name of that wrestler. He was not on Team Angle. I'll just say that. And that was when he was really starting to gain momentum. It was the first T-shirt I ever owned was the white and blue Word Life T-shirt with the brass knucks. And you make all the jokes about the Super Cena, and it was just so funny that Eric and I, like, this friendship started because he was this hardcore Randy Orton fan, and I was a John Cena fan, and it's led to so many amazing moments, getting to see him live. And me and my sister paid for the photo op opportunity at MegaCon this coming March. So cannot wait to even interact with him for just a moment, because I never got to do that while he was an active wrestler. He is somebody that has given so much. A lot of people know, of course, about his record amount of Make-A-Wishes. He was doing Make-A-Wishes on the day of his final match, guys, which is fucking crazy. That guy does not stop. But you also see, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff. You just see his body is beat up, man. And it is time for him to step away. I threw out the idea of, like, maybe he would have a run in AEW, but I just think he's too much of a corporate guy for WWE to ever do that. I think he would be open to it, but I just don't think his heart would allow him to do that, even though there would be a lot of really great matches to see in AEW. But he is a person who has given so much to us as fans, and will continue to do so. Peacemaker Season 2 I have not finished, but he has unlocked a different level when it comes to his acting there, and it is outstanding. I will always love him and thank him for that. And as frustrating as some of those times were as trying to be a level-headed wrestling fan, when you think about the times that he, the Nexus specifically comes to mind, some of those things that get really frustrating, but his overall legacy on the game will never be forgotten. And man, I can't wait to meet him in MegaCon, put on some jorts, and take that photo. So he will. He's the greatest of all time, and we'll have more championships than Randy Orton ever will overall. So,
well, yeah, because Randy Orton just doesn't get put on fucking TV anymore. Like, we have Randy Orton.
He had to go hang out with Mr. fucking Beast for John Cena's final match. Fuck you, Triple H. We fucking hate you, Triple H.
Dude, I'll never get it. I'll never get it. To wrap up this conversation, though, because I know not everyone that listens to the podcast is the biggest wrestling fan, but man, wrestling is such a big part of pop culture, and it starts and stops these days with names like John Cena. Phil, asking for your favorite match is hard. If you have that answer, let me know. But what I'd ask instead is your favorite rivalry of John Cena's, especially just considering you and me. I know it's easy to say Randy Orton, but I actually might have some different answers here, so I'm curious what yours is.
I think it's Edge. I think Randy is, because they're so tied together, but I think because Edge, that's when, like, you really started to take him seriously, when he had that heel turn. And it's such a bummer they didn't get to have, like, one more match before he was out, before Edge had left. I do think that Edge is right up there. I really enjoyed his rivalry with JBL. The early days were really, really good too. I think it was maybe a little bit of a underrated matches with Umanga, as William Regal would say. So those ones were also great. And yeah, man, just him going back and forth. It's hard to think of, like, who else he really feuded with, because it seemed like it was always Randy Orton or Triple H. Shawn Michaels, probably. The Shawn Michaels rivalry was excellent. And then also all the shit he did with Batista. Whenever those two linked up, that was always so good. Batista was so good as a heel, and look at them now. It's no surprise that those two have had the success that they have gone on to have. Favorite match is really, really tough. One is going to be the Royal Rumble return at Madison Square Garden. Eric's favorite match of all time.
Feels like that didn't count. You didn't have to bring that up.
I don't know. He won. So that one was really, really great. And then probably some of those matches that maybe that one of those those triple threat matches with Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, and John Cena.
Yeah.
What was that, SummerSlam? Those were good. And then any of the AJ Styles matches. The fact that those two, AJ Styles in his own right, it deserves that type of run. Will he get it? We'll see. But the fact that those two faces of two different companies got to have multiple matches is outstanding, and they brought out the best in each other. So yeah, one of those AJ Styles John Cena matches is pretty high on the list.
Yeah, those are actually going to be my recommendations for match. Is any of the AJ Styles ones, and specifically I probably would do the Royal Rumble 2015, the triple threat you were talking about. That was the one where I knew Seth Rollins was like a star. Like I had already known, but like, man, he held his own, and it was a great match. The one rivalry I'll bring up that probably is right on the tip of your tongue, and might be my top one, just because I don't think I don't think we get to the heights of this other wrestler without John Cena and
Eddie.
their rivalry. But no, CM Punk.
Oh yeah.
CM Punk's probably the biggest one.
His wrestling soulmate. They are soulmates.
Listen, say what you want to say. The stuff with The Rock was huge at the time. And then JBL's great pull. I think people forget about that all the time. JBL and Eddie had the best rivalry for JBL for me. But I would say if it's not going to be Edge, an honorable mention would be Kevin Owens. I think that rivalry when he first came up as NXT champ was very, very slept on. And again, say what you want about John Cena, but I don't think Kevin Owens makes enough of a splash maybe when he first jumps onto the main roster if it's not for Cena. And then for CM Punk, I just think, again, his career trajectory looks a lot different if he's not involved in a match with Cena and the storyline he was in leading up to that Money in the Bank match. So those are my thoughts. Very bittersweet to see John Cena go out, but man, I was rooting for Gunther. I felt the air come out of the room. It was a tough night for everybody. I was sleeping good though. I was sleeping good. And just remember, guys, he made that little bitch tap.
God, nobody, again, just a modern day old school heel is exactly what we need right now. So again, Gunther earned that victory. It's just, we fucking hate you, Triple H. So that is what we will say about that. But yeah, Eric, what do we have in the didn't make the cuts? I guess we'll just do that really quick. Mine, again, I don't even really want to spend too much time on. One of them was incredibly, one of them was incredibly annoying.
Yeah, go. And I figure we'll just, did make the cut will be this whole segment here, guys. And we'll just go one story at a time. And if the other person has anything to kind of go back and forth on, we'll do that. They'll still be fairly short. But again, I think we covered our biggest, those definitely were the two biggest stories of December, in my opinion.
And two of these are from the Discord roundup, so you'll just cut them whenever. One of them is like, what the fuck? Like, why is there a live action Gaston movie coming out from this? Of all the things, like they think you're gonna take a step back from the live action shit, and then I think what Lilo and Stitch did pretty good, and they're like, fuck it, we're back in. Let's run it back. If we're gonna get this, like, who is Gaston, Eric? If this is going to happen,
is it not Luke Evans again? Is that not what they're going to do? Is this a different thing?
Right, because there already is a live action Gaston. Let's see.
But see, here's the thing. In the title, and you could confirm this, I didn't see that mentioned. You feel like that, it would feel like that'd be the biggest thing you'd advertise, because he was a great Gaston.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
So I haven't seen anything like exactly confirming that that's the case. If it's not the case, what are we doing?
Oh, here's just a list of fan casts from 2018, from when Beauty and the Beast was about to come out. Who's the current? It's Luke Evans, right?
Luke Evans.
Yeah. Okay. So he was second on this list. Henry Cavill, Hugh Jackman, James Marsden. Trying to find names we know.
Don't want to see any of those.
Glenn Powell.
No.
John Cena.
No.
John Cena.
Nope.
You thought we were done talking about John Cena.
I thought we were.
Joe Manganiello.
Listen, argument can be made. We've talked about this too long.
Patrick Warburton.
Phil? Wait, hold on. That one.
No,
I can't get with Bill. I like it.
I know I can't read. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Phil, what was your other story, please?
Okay.
This is why we can't end the episode on time. Okay.
The other one was that Justin Lin is going to direct the Helldivers movie, which Justin Lin is associated with Fast and the Furious. And you know what? I want Helldivers to be a campy, fun, explosive, gory fucking time. Make it rated R, make them cuss a whole bunch, and make it really, really fun. And Justin Lin, he knows how to make a fun movie that made $1 billion. So,
well, they can't get that last one up and running. So, I
don't think he's directing that. So,
it's not because he moved on to Helldivers. Gary Dauberman is the scribe behind It and Annabelle, and I don't know how I feel about that when it comes to the script for this project, but I mean, I'm open to seeing what we do.
It, the movie, not Welcome to Derry, because people love Welcome to Derry.
I don't know, but listen, if he was involved with It Chapter 2 in any way, shape, or form, then there are going to be concerns. That is quite arguably the worst movie I've seen that isn't the Bruno.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Hated hated that movie. I will go down the line. We'll start in the gaming stratosphere, and then we'll transition nicely into the world of TV and entertainment and movies. Phil, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake release date has reportedly been leaked. It's going to be coming out before the end of Q1 2026, so before March 31st. What are your thoughts about that release? Is it too soon? Is it sooner than you expected? Quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, the Black Flag remake is becoming like this like mythical creature. It's like of like gaming. Like even up there with like a GTA 6 is like, is it real? Like we're not 100% sure. But I think they are in desperate need of a win over at Ubisoft, and this is one they can get in there. They can kind of reset Assassin's Creed. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Unity, which has just been a night and day experience between Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I did not enjoy, didn't even finish. And Unity, going back to like what Assassin's Creed was at its roots, has been really refreshing. So for them to get in there, get a win, be like, hey guys, remember Black Flag? You guys like this, right? So maybe they can, right the ship down the road with whatever this horror Assassin's Creed game is going to be that maybe comes out in 2026, and starting off early with a Black Flag remake is a good call.
Yeah, and it's the first of many games that are already announced for 2026. The biggest one that probably won't be a 2026 game is GTA. Phil, you very much believe it's a 2027 game, as does our friend of the show, Andrew. But in 2027, we might also be getting Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, and that is obviously Naughty Dog's next game coming up, allegedly mid-2027. Phil, is this game on your radar at all? I feel like when we did get the initial trailer, you and me didn't really talk very much about it, but talk's now heating up on a release date. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I'm always going to be game for whatever Naughty Dog's next project is, as long as it's not, some sort of online multiplayer live service game, which they were working on for a little bit with that Last of Us multiplayer thing, which unfortunately got scrapped. But yeah, I am down. Take your time when it comes to these games, but it is just like, man, it's taking longer and longer to make these games, and I get like so much is at stake when it comes to these studios putting out new properties, and you just have to like take your time. But we're getting to the point where like you get one game a life cycle from a studio, and like how long is that? Like, thank God for that indie gaming is in such a great state right now, because they put out a game a little bit quicker, and it's holding us off in between a Last of Us Part 2 and then Heretic, right? And this new game. And then, waiting years for Elder Scrolls and waiting years for Grand Theft Auto. Thank goodness there are other games in between there that we've been able to play. But like, man, I mean, how much like longer are these processes going to take when it comes to these AAA studios? You know what I mean? Because pressure is so high. What's the breaking point?
Team Cherry with Hollow Knight sitting there like, this guy, what is this guy talking about? We're supposed to be releasing games quickly?
Yeah. Half-Life 3 maybe coming out. Like, is that a thing? Like,
one day. Speaking of which, you bought those recently on Steam. I was considering buying Portal 2.
Well, there we go. We're Valve. We're diving back into Valve.
We're diving back in
2026. The game room is back, baby.
We're bringing it back. The reboot van. All right. Anyway, transitional news. Todd Howard says the Fallout TV show will have an impact on the next installment of the Fallout franchise, Fallout 5. Phil, I wanted to ask, because we were fans of season 1. You did watch season 1, right?
Yeah, didn't we cover it? Or we just watched it?
I think we just watched it, which is why my brain shut off right there. But I wanted to make sure I got it right. I have not started season 2, which is ongoing right now, but I definitely plan on doing it. Is this something, considering that we tried Fallout 76, you enjoy the show, any way we're going to get you on board to try out Fallout 5?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that I would enjoy Fallout if I'm not playing cooperatively with other people. I'm definitely going to watch the show. Love those characters. Love that they're adapting New Vegas. I'm not the biggest fan of like the lore tying into the game. It gets all very like messy, because one of my favorite things about the show is that it's its own thing, which is like what they should do with Halo and what they should have done with The Last of Us, and that's why I think it's been so successful. So I'm not the biggest fan of that decision, but single player Fallout, I just don't think is my bag. If they continue to make a new update to like Fallout 76 that entices us, maybe, but I think that's the extent of my Fallout gaming.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair, especially in the gaming space. Phil, is very, very selective. But when it comes to movies, Phil, you're actually even more selective, because the actress we're going to talk about next is your favorite. I think you go to all of her movies. Scarlett Johansson, he said, talks to be in the Batman 2, opposite Robert Pattinson. So, Phil, again, I know single line of sight here. You're going to go see it. Phil, Phil has disappeared. Phil, please tell me, what do you think about this news, and who could she possibly be playing?
Let's see. Who's the Asian character in Batman?
Okay. Don't do this. Don't do this.
She is going to play a gender-bent Raja Ghul.
All right, we're going to move on. We're going to move on, guys. Maybe the bigger news that happened in December in the world of pop culture. Netflix is buying Warner Bros. For $83 billion. Phil, thoughts here? The thoughts here are that it was going to go to Paramount, and then there were a couple of other bidders. It looks like Netflix has taken the cake here. There's still a lot of stuff this has to go through before officially happening. But what are your initial thoughts, especially considering everything we hear about Netflix and movies in the theaters?
Yeah, well, first off, apparently they didn't get our bid of $50 and tickets to Bold, Missouri. So that wasn't enough to entice them. Yeah, it is. From everything that you hear, they're trying to say all the right things, like films are going to stay in theaters, like the movie theater isn't going to, like the movie theater experience is important, all that shit. But like, if anybody's going to benefit from movies coming straight to straight to streaming, it's fucking Netflix, right? Like, they paid $80 billion for the Nemesis system. Like, they own Shadow of Mordor, and like, they're going to add the Nemesis system to Stranger Things. Like, that's what they're going to do. Like, imagine if you could have put the Nemesis system into like Batman. You know what I mean? And now we're probably, not that we were ever going to see the Nemesis system ever again, but like Warner Brothers was just sitting on that doing nothing. But I don't think this is a good thing, just because people that are more knowledgeable than me are telling me that it's bad. I have to do some more research myself, but like, get ready to pay more for Netflix, I guess. I don't know. Like, I already pay the most for Netflix than any other streaming service, and I use it the least. So
what do you
crazy.
mean? We're in the middle of Stranger Things right now, bud. Okay. Phil, that's fine. That's fine. I get it. I understand. I'm striking nerves. One thing that might not strike a nerve, in fact, I don't really know that you care at all. The Oscars are heading to YouTube in 2029. Thoughts?
Coming up next, the award for Best Picture, brought to you by Squarespace.
Yeah.
Oh, in this film, Robert Downey Jr. struggles with his mental health, which would be a lot easier for him to manage with BetterHelp. BetterHelp.
Not BetterHelp. Are they still advertising Ray J's
What are those called?
Headphones?
What are those called again? Oh,
are they called? They're not called Ray Bands. Hold on, they're Ray something.
Ray J's headphones. Yeah,
we gotta get the info.
They're called Raycons.
Raycons, yeah.
Hey, honestly though, Ray J, hit us up, man. We will take.
We'll do pretty much anything.
I've never seen anybody wearing a pair of Raycons in the wild ever.
Not one person that gave those as a Christmas gift. Or
not even the people that get sponsored use their Ray.
Yeah.
It's just like when you see Sydney Sweeney like using a Google Pixel. Like, I know you're not using a Google Pixel. You don't have to lie.
So yeah, that's what we should have expected from that news. Even more on the do not care list though. Paul King, the director of the first two Paddingtons, is set to direct the Labubu movie for Sony. Phil, is it possible for a movie to be made where we cry in a Labubu film? Is it possible that it could be Paddington 2 but Labubu?
There would be a situation where we cried, is if we like had to go watch it. Like, what if it's good?
That's what I'm saying.
What if it was good? I can't imagine, because Labubu, they don't have like a cartoon or anything, right? It's just a collectible. They don't talk, do they? Like, is there an animated Labubu show?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I could just see us being asked, what's your number 2 favorite movie ever of all time?
Labubu 2.
What? Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That'll be us. Now we're gonna go back to back to wrap up. Didn't make the cut and finish this up with the biggest news going into next year. Phil, the Odyssey trailer officially dropped. I don't know if you had a chance to check this out. I'm assuming you did. I got to get your thoughts because, man, I was stiff as hell in the theaters.
It made for a very uncomfortable experience for everyone else that was involved. But
people in the back were like, "Move it out of the way! I can't see the screen."
Eric has been very unfiltered this whole weekend. I just want to let you guys know.
It's been bad, guys. It is talking about canceling. I am done for if anyone was recording.
Yeah, man. And didn't we miss our opportunity to get tickets, or did you get your tickets?
No, I didn't get the early IMAX
tickets.
Yeah,
IMAX
tickets.
Yeah, well, we don't have IMAX theaters in Jacksonville.
We're screwed. Yeah, no, I would have traveled out of town to see this film. Like, I was looking at tickets in New York, in fucking California. I would have gone, man.
Calm the fuck down, Jesus
I would have
Christ.
gone.
You have a problem. Yeah, it looks. It's going to be. If it's less than a 4.5, then I think if it's a 4, I think we're disappointed. To be honest with you, if it's anything less than a 4.5, then I think we walk out of the theater disappointed. If I don't want to see it again, I think I'd be disappointed based off of the expectations and who is involved. I am pretty disappointed that Tom Hiddleston. Nope. Nope. Which Tom? Which Tom is in it?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland is wearing pants. There's no pants. What?
Listen, we're not going to talk about the historical accuracies of what was going on, like the knight in the full black armor. Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that. The only concern I have is how they're going to handle the mythological stuff. Sure. I don't know how much they're going to lean into it. You get a little glimpse of the, for those of you that don't want to hear the spoilers, skip ahead, but it's the fucking Odyssey, so you probably know. They showed the Cyclops, so, I mean, like a quick glimpse. So I think they're going to stick with it, but like, again, I'm really interested to see how they're going to handle some of the gods, some of the monsters in this story. Like, I'm very curious how much he's going to lean into it. I really hope we're not trying to make this too realistic. Let's have fun with this.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to... It's the most 1A, 1B highly anticipated film of the year. The other one is for other reasons. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, if we don't walk out of that thing as a life-changing, this gets slotted into number 1 immediately on Letterboxd, then I will be very surprised. It needs to end up in our top 3 for 2026. There's no leeway. If it lands at 4, disappointment. Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Yeah, I mean, it should be, unless these next 2 movies and our final didn't make the cut topic actually make it worth our while, because they're not only dropping in the same year, they're dropping on the same day. Doomsday,
baby,
is coming. Warner Bros. Is reportedly going to stick with Dune 3 having the same release day as Avengers Doomsday. Phil, if this sticks, I cannot imagine that one of these films don't budge. But it's already, honestly, like a week or 2 is going to be such a big move for one of these films. I kind of think there's a possibility they both do release on the same day, because it's not going to matter. They're going to eat into each other.
Lean into it.
Lean into it, right? So
lean into it.
If this happens, are you seeing both of these on the same weekend and or the same day?
Yeah, I'll take PTO for it, because if it comes out on a Thursday, I'll take the day. I'll take the day off, because as frustrated as we are with Doomsday, and I've seen all the trailers. I don't know if you've seen the X-Men one that came out today. I saw it earlier today.
I do not check out any leaks at all. Like, that is not my thing.
Yeah, sure, says the person that knew about The Last of Us Part 2 a year before the game came out.
He what?
What? Yeah. Yeah, so even as frustrated as we are with the MCU, we yearn for that Marvel experience in the theater. Like, we yearn for the mines. Like,
not kids. Yearn, man.
Back down the mines, the kids. Down the mines.
The word yearn, it hurts.
Yearn for it. That cinematic experience. And they're going to re-release Endgame, I think, right back in theaters as well. So, like, we're just itching for that cinematic experience again, for characters that we care about, that they are bringing back. We won't fully spoil those here for those of you that have not seen those trailers or don't want to. But Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think that they should lean into it just like Barbie and Oppenheimer did. And listen, that happened organically. That was not everything else feels manufactured since Barbenheimer. But this, they should just lean into it. Do like combine your press tours, put Timothée Chalamet and maybe one of the original Avengers together in a press tour. Like just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that is a really smart way to go about it and just really emphasize coming to the movie theater, right? Like December this year was, I don't want to say it was a down, Avatar was the big thing here, and then Anaconda came out, and then a bunch of smaller movies that we can't even see here in Jacksonville. So like next year, hype it up for December 2026 to be like, holiday films are back. You have these two major movies coming out on the same day. Go see them the same weekend. See them the same day. Put on your t-shirts. Put on your Avengers t-shirt and then rip it off and have your Paul Atreides cosplay on. Like, do all of that. So I hope that it sticks. I do, of course, have higher hopes and expect Dune to be the better film. But again, I am just waiting to be an MCU cuck once again, because I'm very confident in Supergirl. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and they're going to have their work cut out for them. They got two big chances. You're bringing back Spidey, and you're bringing back the fucking Avengers. And if you miss twice, it might be cooked, man. Might be done.
Might be done. Man, the day we get the Kevin Feige fired post is going to be a crazy day.
It's going to be dropped by Shams.
Maybe.
At 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, like the Luka Doncic trade.
That's crazy work. Yeah, I wonder how that will all work, though, long term. Like, if they can make that excitement from the theater. I just had to explain to my child, because we talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. I had to go to a theater we went to back in high school that is now partially a church. Didn't enjoy going to do that, but we went to go to this theater, and we had to explain to a child what it was like back in our day, where, Phil, we would have to go to a theater and buy a ticket at the theater and hope we got there early enough for a good seat. And sometimes you didn't even sit with your party because there weren't enough seats. That's crazy to think back that, like, we would be waiting in line to walk into the theater. That's not something you experience these days. I wonder if, like, again, the closest we got to was Barbenheimer, that communal experience of going to go see a movie. Hopefully we can do that with this. But again, I'd be shocked if these both stay on the same date, even if it makes sense right now in the moment.
Yeah, I remember like people lining up to take pictures in the Barbie box, like at the movie theater. Like,
when was the last time that happened? Right?
What a great time. We took a group photo in front of the posters. Like, come on, man, we got the T-shirts that we still wear to this day. Like,
if we don't get a
Doomsday,
Timothée Chalamet and Tom Holland commercial, we missed out.
It writes itself, man. Put those two together on Jimmy Kimmel, not Jimmy Fallon. Fuck Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel.
I want Robert Downey Jr. saying Lisa Nalgaib. That's what I want.
Exactly. Yeah. Come on, have a good time with it, and invite people back to the movies. Again, hopefully there's plenty of other films between January and November that people are also going to the movies for. But yeah, it is a chance for them to knock it out of the park, but we haven't seen so many of these characters in so long. By this time, by an Avengers film, we would have seen them at least 2 or 3 times, and they haven't done that. Are the Marvels even going to be in this movie? Do people care about the Marvels at all anymore? Like, what's even happening? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where everything falls, if they can lean on the right amount of nostalgia and give us something new for the future, and see where this is all heading. I think it's the last hope for a lot of us. And if at the very least, it's going to be a very bittersweet goodbye for some of us if it's bad. So yeah, didn't make the cut for the month of December. A lot of stuff that was shared in the pop culture news section of our Discord. We appreciate everybody that continued the conversation, talked about a lot of the topics that we shared here today. But Phil, again, a shorter episode. We did manage to pretty much make it across the finish line in a decent amount of time. Next year, we will continue to bring the fun back with games, horses, and guests. But for now, just the two of us wrapping up the year, and we had a lot of fun recapping the year with our end of year awards and looking forward to 2026. So if you haven't checked out those episodes in our catalog, Phil, let everybody know where they can find us, and we'll wrap this one up.
Yeah, and in 2026, we have those robes coming for returning guests, thanks to our Capital One credit card.
Stop!
Wait for it podcast.
We're gonna get in trouble. Can't financially. This could not be profitable for Frito-Lay. That's gonna be our
Shout out to
2026.
Jesse Plemons.
That's gonna be our 2026 quote until we watch that movie.
This cannot be profitable for the Wait For It podcast.
I gotta write that down now. I keep forgetting. Game night, right? Yeah, we gotta do it.
Shout out to Jesse Plemons, who is excellent in Begonia, a film that I watched here today. Yeah, you can also check out. Are we releasing the audio version of the stream on the as a bonus? Or
yeah,
no?
for the Letterboxd episode. Yeah, that'll probably come out on Friday the 2nd.
Cool. So you may be able to listen to it in a few days if you're listening to this on the day it came out, or maybe able to listen to it already. So we'll see. But yeah, if you want to keep up with everything Wait For It podcast related, you can click the Linktree link in the show notes of this and every single episode. You can find us over on any podcast player. And if you want to support, leave us those 5-star reviews. It's one of the best ways you can support the show. You can also follow us on social media on TikTok and Instagram. Join the aforementioned growing Discord community. Follow us on Twitch, where we are streaming each and every single week. And also make sure you follow Eric's personal Twitch, where he is streaming multiple times a week. Make sure to follow myself as well at Phil the Filipino. I have some very, very exciting announcements coming when it comes to the voice acting realm for 2026. It's going to be a big year for both of us as far as a team and individually. Very, very excited. And yeah, we thank you guys so much for all the support once again that you showed us in 2025. We have our typical shows coming up in the beginning of the year: Brick City Anime Festival, Collective Con, Bull Missouri, and of course the 2 Infinity Con shows that we will have in the new year. But yeah, guys, again, this has been so much fun. Excited to bring back guests for January. What did I miss? And you know, if you find yourself wanting to get these episodes a little bit earlier, have a hand in some of the content that we put out in the new year, Eric will let you know a little bit more about that before wrapping us up for 2025.
Yeah, so all of the free stuff that only takes a moment of your time that Phil mentioned is much appreciated. But if you want to go beyond and support us a little bit extra, you can support us monthly on platforms like Patreon, where patrons of the show: Briar, T3 Cato, Vintage Macaroni, Corey from The World Is My Burrito, Nick Casbaro, the author of the Vitellarium series, and Botter from the Short Box podcast, are supporting us every single month in exchange for behind the scenes and early access to episodes like this one. But again, if you're not able to do all the extra stuff, everything at the base level is always appreciated. Helps support the show, keeps us going, and having the lights on. With that all being said, my name is Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host, Phil the Filipino. And please don't forget, we release new episodes every Wednesday on the podcast, and all you have to do is wait for it.
This is the Wait For It podcast.